Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. Rarely, if ever, can I remember a time when I made a video where I received, I don't want to say it's overwhelming, but it's a decent chunk of the response that saw something worrisome that I totally overlooked. If you missed my video, and I've got it pulled up in a window so I can read comments, titled I have so much to say about this, I was addressing the new Kabam, it's kind of twofold, threefold strategy to be more transparent when it comes to retuning champions. There's going to be a new rating system, but also they did not kick out the concept that depending on performance, that we could see a minor tune down tweak to champions like Cole, Obsidian, and Namor. And they did bring up in it that even though Namor and Cole Obsidian are tuned down champions, technically, that people still use them quite often. I think that's true for Namor. I don't think that's true for Cole Obsidian. I think Cole is a lot less used now than he was. So what that means is that we have seen a couple of high-end champions released and not touched for several months. We're looking at Shang-Chi. We're looking at Hercules. We're looking at Kitty Pryde, etc. Even Null. This has caused some distress amongst the community, and I just want to share their thoughts directly. So let's pull up my champions and talk about them. First off, Jeremy McElroy, to be exact, here's an idea for Kabam. When we practice duel against our own champions, give us a page that's a pre-fight that lets us triple or quadruple practice champions' health and attack and add up to 4 nodes. Realm of Legends is outdated. This could be cool, fun, alternative for testing champions and dueling. Now, of course, I guess the counter argument to that is that the Kabam servers would be way too full with that much space taken up from that. But I love the concept. I love the idea. Dana Love states it pretty clearly. Looking at both the current and past states of the game, I have a hard time looking at these future changes with confidence. So that's kind of an intro on the skepticism of them. But Metal Jake goes a step further. Tune downs will be detrimental to the game. Once you open that door, you break the seal, and all blowback is righteous. What a statement that is. OG311, my man, says, I wish they would just buff up the material arenas. We need way more chances for Tier 3 Basic and Tier 1 Alpha. Well, that's true, but probably not going to happen. So, King's Punisher had one of the most responded to comments. He says, the moment that they start talking about, and I quote, from him, upon review, we feel that Hercules or Kitty Pryde or Ghost, for example, isn't performing as we intended. Half the game is going to quit. He says this is a terrible, potentially game-killing idea, and they should walk it back immediately. This is from Mr. Gentoo. Now, to be fair, there were some counter-arguments. But MJ Reynolds said, preach, most people will leave the game if they nerf all the good champs because of a bug. They should only buff champions, not marry them. Cranky JD summed it up with, that's an awful lot of words for not a lot of change. Instead of concentrating on important game playing and interactive improvements, which are at present causing issues to the enjoyment and the way the game plays, they decide to give themselves more work that is unnecessary and hide their failings. In my opinion, this is more smoke and mirrors than actual improvements. King's Punisher again says, trust me, this is just a big nerf to OP champs. Kabam just don't give a whoop. Mark my words, lads. And Kahaival X, sorry if I butchered your name, Khaival. We need the game to be fixed. Something Kabam seems to put in their lower tiers of priorities. Who asked for this so-called balance? Don't they remember what happened last time they tried this? Nobody wanted to rank up champs or pull on the new ones because they might get a nerf. That's the word Kabam doesn't like, by the way. It's why the so-called balance initiative was put on the back burner. They have such a short memory, or maybe, just maybe, they don't care anymore. Now look, here's my takeaway, and I said this a little bit in that video from the past 24 hours. If there is even a microscopic chance that Kabam could tune down a new champion that appears to be OP, which I do think often results from not testing a champion enough, they will give so many players, including people in the arena, the motivation to just not spend the money or grind for the champion. This is hurting their business. I don't think outside of a crazy rare bug, which almost never happens, there should be any reason to tune down a champion. And Kabam doesn't want the blowback, so that what they end up doing is creating a lot of champions like Super Scroll, who aren't the worst champions or not the best champions. They're just somewhere in the middle. Kabam Broccoli touched on this quite extensively in my interview with him a few months ago, because they know it's easier to buff a champion and to get people excited about that champion than it is to, of course, face the blowback of tuning down the champion. The problem is, and we see this with Toad and Sauron this month, if the champions are just kind of in the bottom middle of their class, the hype, or lack thereof, doesn't make Kabam as much money because not as many people want to go for their crystals. When I think about when, say, Null was introduced and how many screenshot submissions I got for community pools versus Sauron right now, it's laughable. Because most people are just disappointed in Sauron, and for that matter, Toad. And when you have a month like January, where there are no buffs or tune-ups to older champions, and you have two boring, forgettable new champions, it just makes the month kind of feel like a waste. So, Kabam, I hope and pray that the summoners that I just quoted on my video page that are convinced that this is an unnecessary smokescreen for nerfs are not right. But what I do know is that it was a lot of words for a little bit of change, and if you're going to throw a bunch of game designers on this problem, why not throw all of them on all of the problems in the game first and then worry about the rebalancing, even though that also gives me a little bit of emotional PTSD because it was so bad the last time we brought it up. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Thanks for continuing to put up with my congestion. I realize I sound probably more like Kermit the Frog right now than my traditional self, but I'm powering through to continue to cover things on my channel.